What's going on, guys, and welcome on in. Today let's talk about hunts, because it is the hunt weekend right now. As of watching this, guys, it is the tail end of the first hunt weekend. We're gonna get two more, and if you notice, I do have a lot of energy over cap. Please don't roast me on it. I've been good, I promise. I've been staying under 154, but I paused my hunts just to record this video for you guys. Anyways, guys, this video is gonna cover hunt progression, so when to go from Wyvern into any of their hunts, typically Azimanak or Banshee. That's what I guess asked the most. Carl, when do I swap from one to the other? Well, the main thing you need to ask is when, and also you need to identify why you should be swapping from one to the other, or which ones you should be choosing, and I'll help you guys decide all of that. We'll talk about all of the Wyvern, focus on Wyvern, Banshee, and Azimanak, as well as go into maybe a few unit suggestions, tips and tricks, one-shot comps, things like that. I'll do a basic guide covering all of it. And let me know, guys, actually in the comments below, what are you guys farming today, since it is still hunt event as of this video. What are you farming today, or plan to farm in the near future, maybe the next 2 weekend hunt events, because you should be taking full advantage of them. Just let me know what boss it is, if you're trying one shot, maybe 3-man comps or fodder farming. I just like to know a little bit more about you guys, and it also help me make future content for you, okay? Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and start with Wyvern, the boss we all know and love super well, because we've had to kill him a million times. And speaking of Wyvern, if any of you guys have difficulty moving from 11 to 12, Wyvern 11 to 12, the best thing you can do actually is either in the comments below, or if you have a chance, stop by my Twitch live stream. It's always in the description, guys, but I'll do a quick plug, because if you have time this weekend, next weekend, any of these hunt events, a lot of times, since there's not a lot of content going on, I can help you guys one-on-one. Specifically, if you ask in chat, I can identify for you. You know, if I have trouble moving from 12 to 11, should I just farm 11 if I can't do 12? Well, let me help you get 12 or 13 at 100%. I can identify, you know, what you need to fix up and change, and you know, I've been doing it pretty much every single hunt event. So stop by if you can. We'd love to have you. All right. Okay, let's start our progression journey, guys. As we all know, a new player will start their adventure path. They'll grab the attack and crit set, slap the free health set on whatever tank they have, usually Angelica. Maybe they picked up Sigrid as their damage dealer, or they're going to use Alexa, which, by the way, I have a tip for Alexa later on. And then if you see this lovely lady here, guys, later this week, a lot of you guys will be able to pick up Seaside Bellona. I'm super happy and excited for y'all, and I'm going to make an all-encompassing guide for her this week, so keep an eye out. But anyways, yeah, your hunt progression, of course, you know, you start at 10 to 11 to 12 to 13. It's a pretty linear path. 10, of course, has random hits, so that one's a little bit tricky for some player, but everyone gets past it. 11 and 12 are pretty straightforward. It always hits the front line, and it's kind of just a damage and gear check. And then 13 is where it gets a little bit trickier, because you need some debuffs to make sure the Wyvern hits the front row. Alright, y'all, let's breeze through the Wyvern part, since a lot of us know it like the back of our hands. But we have our tank would be Angelica, Alexa's the damage dealer, Turner Guard is the defense breaker, and then Seaside Bellona is kind of the flex unit. She defense breaks, she damages, and the most important thing, if you want to run Alexa, is she does area of effect damage. AoE damage, meaning she hits all the mobs in the first phase, the fodder, the trash mobs, and she allows Alexa to save her skill 2. So this is my first tip for you guys. If you want to run Alexa as your damage dealer, let's talk about her strengths. She's a 3-star. You only need her at level 50. She's absolutely amazing with Daydream Joker, because she hits 2 times with her skill 1. And keep in mind, guys, another quick tip for y'all. I may have mentioned it before, but if you didn't know, Daydream Joker scales way better off of crit damage than attack. So if you have a choice, make sure you build more crit damage over attack if you're ever running Daydream Joker. But the main thing, besides her being low resource cost, no Molagora, is the fact that her skill 2 gives a 100% chance to inflict 2 poison effects. And as we all know, the Wyvern is such an annoying jerk that you need to land debuffs, and a lot of times he'll resist them. Well, adding in 2 extra 100% chance proc effects on your damage dealer is huge, and it helps smooth out the run so hugely, guys. So make sure, hopefully I have some footage playing where y'all can see the Alexa using her skill 2 the first time the Wyvern comes out. That's going to make sure the Wyvern on his follow-up turn always has at least 2 debuffs, because we're going to stack 2 debuffs here from Alexa, 1 to 2 from Seaside Bellona. Turner Guard has 1 to 2 depending on what artifact you're running, and then your tank may have 1 or 0. But you stack as many debuffs as possible while maintaining high damage, and you should be good to go. You all know this already for Wyvern. Now, alternate units real fast. The main one, of course, if you ever pick up General Purgus, guys, he's going to be absolutely amazing. Provides attack up for the first trash mob wave. CR pushes, so you don't need speed. You can build full damage instead. That's what I'm doing. And then, yeah, he's just a good tank as well that you can use in PvP. Alexa slot, guys, a lot of y'all will be running like Sigrid. You can also use like Ice Chloe. There's a lot of damage dealers you opt for. Maybe even Luna. Terranor Guard, of course, the main competitor for him is Furious. Furious is a little bit more reliable in defense breaks, but Terranor Guard beats him out because he doesn't need Molagora and has higher dual attack chance. Beats him out as that's his strength. If you're running Furious, he's very good too. He's just a little bit higher cost, etc. Seaside Bellona, we kind of talked about briefly. Clarissa kind of fills that role. You could really put anything else here, guys. You could add another defense breaker like Karen, or put Karen instead of Terranor Guard. It's up to you. Depends what you have. That's it for unit suggestions. The main thing is a lot of y'all will be picking up Seaside Bellona, and so if you haven't already been running Cigarette, pick up Alexa. This combo, guys, I swear by it, and this is going to lead us into our next talking point, which is, should you be one-shotting or not? Well, guys, I've been running this exact comp, and as you can see from the footage, it's very fast, especially with Terranor Guard and the dual attack chances. I also have rage sets on, so you can improve your units without having to go into a one-shot build. So the main thing, Car, should I build a one-shot team? Well, first identify what's it actually going to do for you if you're not trying to build it just, you know, to flex or as another like milestone achievement for yourself. Because it's a lot of investment, guys, a lot of times, and you can look up the one-shot builds yourself, but they'll involve units like Sinful Angelica, which you may not have, or they require specific gearing, specific artifacts. I know Seaside Bellona will need a Rengar's Drink, etc. It depends on what you're running, but it's the point is it's very high investment. And what does it actually give you? Compared to my runs, it may shave off like 10 seconds per run, but how many of y'all actually have unlimited energy? Are you wailing out where you need those few extra seconds to farm extra time? At the end of the day, you're going to run out of energy. Most of us are going to run out of energy. So the faster we do it, you know, because our runs can get very fast. Like I'm telling y'all, you don't need to be for Wyvern, because there's going to be some other hunts we're going to talk about in a second that I do recommend one-shotting. But for Wyvern one-shotting, just ask yourself, what does it actually give you, and how much investment cost, how many resources are you going to have to invest to even start it up? And my take for 95% of all players is skip Wyvern one-shot. It's fun, it's a flex move, but other than that, it's really, really not worth it unless you're wailing out and you need all that saved time, okay? Okay, guys, before we decide which one to farm first between Banshee or Azimanak, let me quickly talk about when you should transition from Wyvern into those two. And my only main suggestion, I'm going to keep it real brief, is just don't swap too early, please. I think a big mistake a lot of players make, let's say you pulled Ravi on the last banner, guys, because she's your favorite unit, and you see, you know, people running her on a counter set, and you think, oh my god, that's so fun. Let me go ahead and stop, you know, I just started farming Wyvern, but let me swap to Banshee so I can get a good counter set for her. Guys, that is a big mistake, because one, if you're ever trying to farm hunts and just the drops, any of my veterans will tell you, or some of you guys can realize right now, that getting specific gear drops for a specific unit is so dang difficult. You're gonna have to farm a lot of time, and that's getting, you know, that's taking speed sets away from most of the cast that can use them. Wyvern and even crit set and hit set can be good for PvE too. I think for Banshee, the fact that it is 4 sets, right, means if you're trying to fish for specific gear for specific units, it's very, very difficult. Same thing for Azimanak to a lesser extent. Guys, just don't swap too early. And I know you're going to want to build a specific gear sets, those alternative gear sets for other units, but keep in mind, like even Ravi, even other counter units can run on speed too. And then later on, when you get all your units built up to an acceptable level on speed or other sets, then you can start focusing on like niche, more harder to farm sets like counter, lifesteal, etc. Okay, that's my only suggestion. Let's go ahead and talk about Azimanak and Banshee. Alright guys, so after Wyvern, we're transitioning. We want to add some more variety to our gear sets, build up more units on different builds. I think the next step is going either to Banshee or Azimanak. Those would be my two suggestions. I think you should avoid Katie still, and even Golem. Despite the fact that their gear sets got buffed, I still don't think they're worth it compared to these other two. And, you know, if you get some arena gear from them, or let's say World Boss random drops for those sets, try them out. The buffs were pretty nice, but for the most part, yeah, they're not as good as Banshee, what Banshee and Azimanak can offer you. Now, which one do you start first? Well, if we look at what, you know, sets they drop, Azimanak drops Rage, Unity, and Immunity. Banshee can drop Lifesteal, Destruction, Effect Resist, and Counter. I think for the most part, guys, most of y'all should be starting with Azimanak, and not only if you're a PvPer, because I know a lot of y'all are going to think, well, I don't do PvP, so I don't need immunity. Well, keep in mind, Rage set is also the premier set for PvEers, guys. If you plan to do like a lot of Holo Trials and trying to make the leaderboards, Abyss and Future Abyss content, or even things like just improving your hunt speedrun times, yeah, Rage set is absolutely amazing. It is the premier PvP damage set. Very easy to set up, especially for PvE. Now, let's get back to Immunity. It's one of the best sets overall for PvP, especially Guild Wars, RTA, arena. You will need it, guys. Your opponent's going to have it at the higher levels, and at the lower levels, if you have it and your opponent does, it's such a huge advantage. Not every unit needs it, but it is mandatory for some and highly recommended for most. Now, the best part is, since we only need 2 pieces, we don't have to spend forever here in Azimanak A13 like we have to spend forever in Wyvern. Another nice thing is, guys, just a quick side note, after transitioning from Wyvern, 12-13, you should have probably been trying out Raid and Raid and Hell Raid, and if you're not, get on it ASAP because of the immunity chest piece. I'll put it on the screen right now, guys. This thing starts with amazingly high speed rolls, high base rolls overall for an 88, and the substats in general just can work on almost any units: bruisers, tanks, soul weavers, damage dealers, almost anything. You may now, with the addition of gem reforges or substat reforges, you can even specialize it further, but for the most part, just Hell Raid in general, the speed weapon, and the immunity chest, which I think most of y'all should pick up immunity chest first if you're a PvPer. Absolutely god tier, something you should get every single month, 1 piece every single month. So that's just a quick side tip in picking up extra immunity pieces. But let's get back to A13 and talk about the comp real fast. I don't want to spend too long on this either, guys, but for the most part, this is by far the best non-Moonlight squad. I'll talk about a few Moonlight units that make this thing they trivialize the entire run. But if you have any of these 3 units here, I say you just had a banner. A-Roz everybody has. Green Vildred you can replace with Green Bellona, or if you picked up Arbor Vildred, but I'm trying to not talk about Moonlight units right now. And Tamarin can, you can replace Montmorency or Angelica. Just keep in mind she does everything which we need for the boss, which is we need not to run more than 2 debuffs, otherwise the boss will cleanse itself. We need to clear the eggs in a speedy manner, otherwise it's just going to take forever because the boss has a huge defense buff while the eggs are alive. And then we also need to bring some strips because the boss enrages, as well as some cleanses because the boss, I believe, silences. So for the most part, guys, this exact squad covers everything. Vildred is the best egg clear in the game while providing good damage. A-Roz gives defense up, a strip on skill 1, defense break, and bringing more damage to Vildred on skill 2. Tamarin, we all know, she's the healer that does everything. Cleanse, CR push, strip. She's a goddess. And then Iseria can reset the Tama with skill 2, and she doesn't provide more than 2 debuffs in the squad because Vildred Tama have no debuffs. A-Roz only has defense break, so she provides an additional defense break, which won't add to that number. And then unbuffable, which is actually good for the boss too. So that way she won't proc rage, and we don't need to have to strip. So for the most part, guys, just bring as much strip as possible while having a good egg clear, and then any healer that also has a cleanse and bonus points for strip. But I think Tama may be one of the few. Guys in the comments, is there any other healer that also does a strip? I'm kind of too many stuff to think about right now. But anyways, talk about the alternate units. Guys, I mentioned a Vildred. Spectre Tinibre can solo damage this with her poisons. She may proc more than 2 poisons at a time, and the boss will cleanse, but for the most part, keep her alive and you can kill it. Champion Zerato 2 will kill it very, very slowly, but he can almost solo it. Just give him a little bit of support. He actually can solo A11 and maybe even A12 with Violin, his self-strip. But yeah, bring a Violin. Swap out any of those units, like I mentioned, Green Bellona. But A13, here's my major tip for you guys. Just don't farm it during hunt event. Do you need a one-shot? I don't think so. For the most part, A13 is harder to run or as a one-shot than the other squads. You need more specialized units, and the gearing I think is a little bit trickier. Just looking at the units required for it, a lot of y'all may not have those available. So in my opinion, just don't farm it during hunt events where you need to go super fast. Load it up when you have some AFK time, you're watching Netflix, or run auto 20 overnight. But yeah, I think just, take it slow. A13, like I said, there's only 2 pieces of immunity, and 2 pieces of immunity that you'll need compared to 4-piece sets. So start with A13, and then we'll transition over to Banshee next. All right, guys, last but not least, we have Banshee for all your sweet lifesteal and counter gear, effect resistor destruction sets. This is one, actually, unlike the other 2 hunts, I would recommend starting with a one-shot comp for 2 reasons. Number 1, the units that you can use, in my opinion, are a lot more accessible. Here we have Leo, very accessible 4-star. Free Spirit Tieria is a free 4-star, and these 2 are defense breakers that will also provide some AoE damage to the wave and a little bit of damage to the boss. Vivian, you can use any other attack buffer. It doesn't have to be 3 turns. 3 turns will make it a lot easier, but the other 2 3-turn attack ups are like Diane, Kazuna. You can also use Mui, Charles. Any other attack up unit will work. You just may have to to optimize things a little bit if it's only a 2-turn. And then the one-shotter can be even a 3-star fodder mouse. It could be a Valen, it could be a Fiend, it could be Watchachuri. There's some other options as well. So for the most part, it's not as difficult to one-shot. And the other reason is it's very, very annoying, guys, to auto Banshee if you don't one-shot her. She's going to split into multiple parts. It's going to take a long time. And even then, it's kind of hard developing a team that can sustain and deal enough damage clearing the ads that she splits into. So this is why I recommend one-shotting from the get-go with Banshee. And it'll be the later one you're farming anyway. So by that time, you'll have more units. You'll have more resources to invest into it. It should be a pretty smooth process. Okay. Phew, guys, that went way longer than I thought it would. I'll probably have to edit some of it out so this video doesn't go on forever, but hopefully you learned a little bit here and there. It was more of just a quick video guide to help you, you know, add some extra info when you do all these hunt events, what to do, when to do it, etc. But anyways, thank you as always so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out, y'all.